Welcome back home again in Indiana Wesleyan. The venue, Lucky Arena, the site, Marion, Indiana, and our matchup, number 1, Indiana Wesleyan, number 9, Georgetown. Georgetown had a thriller yesterday, Indiana Wesleyan, a knockout. And as we get set, we'll have pause for the prayer and national anthem, and then we'll preview your matchup and have the tip in a moment. Alongside Roger Alcock, I'm Jonathan Mathis. The second round of the NAIA Women's Basketball Tournament is next.
Followed by the playing of our national anthem. We'll be led in prayer this evening by the Reverend Dr. Colleen Durer, President of Wesley Seminary.
Let us pray. Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for these schools, these institutions that exist to bring honor and glory to your name. We thank you for the ability to compete. And we pray, dear Lord, that in these moments ahead of us, that the words of our mouths, the meditations of our heart, and the actions of our hands will do nothing but bring honor and glory to you. And now to him who gives us the ability to think and move and act and have our being, we give praise and glory and say to Jesus, amen.
Number 9, Georgetown. Roger, yesterday, Georgetown, the Tigers got by on the skin of their teeth.
Oh, it was an amazing game when the Tigers went to overtime. Finally defeated the Pioneers of Mid-America Nazarene. And Jonathan, though, in that game, Mid-America, they led for the majority of that first half, but there was a point in the second quarter when the Tigers were trailing by 11. They went on a run and then extended that run into the third quarter. The third quarter was key. They went on a 15-0 run to start that game. So they went from trailing by 11 to up by 11. Had to hold on, went into overtime, and even survived the last-second shot from Mid-America Nazarene. But, boy, key in that game, the starters for the Tigers of Georgetown, they had to play a ton of minutes. In fact, 4 of the 5 starters logged at least 40 minutes. That could be a big story tonight to see what kind of legs they have left tonight, because the Wildcats, they didn't have it so rough last night.
Indiana Wesleyan was dominant. They blew out Southwestern Christian 99-53, and Roger, the score was pretty indicative of how that game went.
Oh yeah, Indiana Wesleyan jumped out in that game 28-10 in the first half. They led 54-21 at the break. And so in contrast to the Tigers, there was no starter for the Wildcats that went more than 24 minutes. In fact, Sadie Nee came off the bench and she led the Wildcats with 25 minutes. So the Wildcats should certainly be fresh tonight. Their bench is a little bit deeper. That can certainly come into play.
Referees are Amanda Bender, Andrew Hoffman, Charles Smith, and our starters for Georgetown under the direction of Jeff Nickel in his second season with the Tigers. What a turnaround he's had. Madison Darnell, Izzy Lamparty, and Jalen Van Landversite are in the front court. Lanford-Side had an outstanding game yesterday. Sophie Smith and Erin Toller in the backcourt. Indiana Wesleyan counters with Jade Nutley, Bailey Van Dyke in the front. Kelly Damon runs the point. Claire Merrill is a great shooting performance yesterday. Lily Frazier is the newest 1,000-point scorer for Indiana Wesleyan. Ethan Whaley in his 6th year, the head coach for the Wildcats. And Georgetown attacks immediately into the corner, and Darnell misses a 3. She hasn't made one in 4 games. She hasn't attempted one in 4 games. And she offers this one up. Sophie Smith will try it and misses a 3-2, and Merrill the rebound.
You know, Sophie Smith, not known for her 3-point shooting, but she had a career game last night. 9 points, 6 rebounds. But Jalen Lanford-Side, what a game she had for Georgetown last night. A double-double, 19 points, 11 rebounds. They're going to need another performance like that.
Here's Frazier inside, couldn't get it off the bounce, and it stays 0-0 as Darnell gets the rebound. Tigers looking for the first lead, but they traveled.
Well, a game like this, the little things, turnovers, rebounding, those will be big factors in this game. And of course, we just see the first turnover of the ball game. We'll keep an eye on that. Indiana Wesleyan's defense last night just created havoc all night long for Southwest Christian and turned them over 22 times. Don't think they can do that to the Tigers tonight, but defense is a key for Indiana Wesleyan.
Indiana Wesleyan, turnover-wise, very good at it on the year, averaged nearly 20 per game, and they scored 21 points per game off of turnovers. And we'll see if Georgetown, their defense, can counter that. Indiana Wesleyan, the defense looks so good yesterday as Erin Toller gets the scoring started with the first deuce of the game.
A nice baseline drive, pull-up jumper. Not an easy shot that she made look easy.
Frazier takes on Darnell, moves her out of the way, and draws a foul.
If you've never watched Indiana Wesleyan play, Lily Frazier, the leading scorer for Indiana Wesleyan, averaging 16 points a ball game. From the guard spot, you think, oh, she's shooting a lot of threes. Not really. It's plays like that where she's getting inside in the post and either getting those little bunnies or drawing fouls. Very good free throw shooter.
And she's a 31% three-point shooter, but just 58 of them on the year. So you can imagine, of all her attempts, she has now 2 points. She's taken over 300 shots from the field, and 300 of them were from inside the three-point arc. One of Indiana Wesleyan's better perimeter defenders, Bailey Van Dyke, hounds the Tiger point guard. Now here's Lanford-Side. Toller.
Gonna watch how well Claire Merrill can guard Toller, but Toller is tremendous off the dribble, and there again we see her scoring off the dribble.
And she blows by Kelly Damon, another strong individual defender for Indiana Wesleyan. And what a game Damon had yesterday. She had been a little slumbery offensively as Nutley scores off the pass from Damon, but then she just woke up with a vengeance yesterday.
Well, the Wildcats, you can see early trying to go inside, that time to Nutley. Indiana Wesleyan probably has a little bit of the advantage inside in the post.
Georgetown goes the post into the middle, and a tie-up jump ball called. That's Wildcat basketball.
Take a look at Jade Nutley here. Good catch. Nice pass. The key on that, a lot of times you watch the finish, but an excellent entry pass. And now we see Georgetown with a little pressure.
Damon court. From the top. No, airmailed it out of bounds.
That's the shot last night she knocked down with regularity.
She was 4 of 7 from 3. That was the best percentage by a Wildcat. And she had been, in the previous 3 games, just 13% from 3. So a significant improvement by Kelly Damon. Darnell kept that pivot foot planted. Underneath, Lamparty.
Lamparty had those 10 points last night. Very good athlete. She wasn't necessarily a natural post player, but she's developed into one here in college and doing very well.
Down low, Nutley over the basket. Lamparty fires it up to Smith. Georgetown, the underdog. They find Lanford-Side back out to Toller. And there Liz Lamparty, her 4th point of the game.
And right now, offensively, Georgetown has Indiana Wesleyan chasing the ball a little bit. They're moving it extremely well. Picked up the loose ball, got it easy too.
Nutley on the rim run is fouled. And that's on Sophie Smith, her first. I think, Roger, we saw yesterday a contrast to today's game where Indiana Wesleyan just came out so strong out of the gate, but it's Georgetown who has the early lead here.
Well, certainly Georgetown, we worried a little bit or talked a little bit about kind of their stamina and what they might have left in their legs. They've shown they're more than ready tonight.
And Frazier pushed all the way to midcourt by Toller. Down the lane, right hand, yes.
Split the defenders, did Lily Frazier, and she has 4 points now.
And 4 of Indiana Wesleyan's 6. And Georgetown, a very black and blue battering type game yesterday. A lot of cardio work in the hotel swimming pool last night. Some ice, and they've come out aggressive as Smith from the corner swishes a 3.
Lily Frazier dropped down inside to help defensively, left the shooter wide open.
Here's Sadie Nee, who has been an outstanding 13 assists to no turnovers the last handful of games.
Yeah, 25 minutes last night, 6 assists, no turnovers.
Frazier right where she wants her. What a move, but it doesn't go. Darnell the rebound.
And Darnell did a good job staying down, keeping on her feet.
And Smith travels. That is the 3rd turnover of the game for Georgetown.
Should mention, Jonathan,
oh, yeah,
you have the Wildcats and the Tigers facing off in women's college basketball here in Marion, Indiana, down in Georgetown, Kentucky. In men's action, it's the Wildcats and the Tigers.
Just gotta love that serendipity.
And Maddie Lawrence has checked in now for Indiana Wesleyan.
She's number 2 in white. There's Sadie Nee.
And she has a mismatch right here.
Lawrence taking on Sophie Smith, gives it up. Here's the 3 by Merrill. Yes!
Big shot there by Claire Merrill. And nice job by Jordan Reed in finding the open shooter.
Landforsyth off a career performance, gives it up to Sophie Smith. Into the corner, Toller can't connect on the 3. Lawrence shrugs off the rebound. Merrill in transition, Jordan Reed flying ahead.
Jordan Reed, one of the better athletes you're gonna find, really gets stuff down, up and down the floor very well and finishes at the rim with ease. Oh, there's the steal.
Reed's able to save it too, but misses Izzy Reed. Merrill to the floor first. Reed, Lawrence. Tie ball game at 11.
Good decision here by the Wildcats to slow it down and set up.
Ooh, almost a travel from Lawrence. Knee shot was altered, and Darnell mops it up. To your point earlier, Roger, as Toller finds a 3 but misses.
Oh, that was a long 3.
We've seen a lot of subs already for Indiana Wesleyan. No subs yet for Georgetown. There's that key quintet of Tigers versus a very deep Wildcat club. Lawrence off the glass, but is fouled by Izzy Lamparty.
And Maddie Lawrence is going to go to the line and shoot 70% on the season, but good patient move. Didn't get the basket, but drew the foul. And that's already 3 fouls on Georgetown here in the first quarter.
And Maddie Lawrence at the line. What an interesting character where she was recruited by Ethan Whaley, got a suite in the football complex and said, "You're the leader we want in this program." And 3 years in, she's going to PT school next year, so not a senior night, but her final home game here in Lucky Arena.
Well, not just a good athlete, but the genuine definition of a student athlete. I think she was valedictorian of her high school over at Winchester High School. Very good very good high school basketball program, but an outstanding student as well.
Toller finds a way through and lays it home. She has 6.
Well, you got to know where Toller is at every minute.
Reed is fouled by Lombardi. And Georgetown in some foul trouble here in the first quarter. That's the second on Izzy Lombardi, who fouled out yesterday.
You know, when Maddie Lawrence made those 2 free throws, put the Wildcats up 13-11, that was their first lead of the ball game.
So Reed at the free throw line, 82% from New Palestine, Indiana. Leaves the first one short. Her didn't have the scoring impact she's accustomed to. Just 4 points yesterday. She'd been on a hot stretch too. And the 2-time second team all-conference in the Crossroads League.
More importantly, one of the better defenders, made the conference all-defensive team, but she can really, really lock things up.
There's Toller breaking the press, gives it off Darnell off the glass.
Well, I know the Wildcats want to come up and pressure and try to dictate a little tempo, because obviously the coaches know that their bench is a little bit deeper, and the Tigers had such a long night last night, but you got to make it a little more difficult than that.
Here's Lawrence from the corner, got it! 5 for Maddie Lawrence off the bench to lead all scorers on the Indiana Wesleyan side. Lisa Solgermani has the handle from the right side. Here's Toller, who's off to a strong start.
And it's interesting right now for the Wildcats, you have both Lawrence and Nutley in, the 2 big players.
Good move by Darnell, couldn't get it. Rebound by Callie Jackson, who will earn another one at the line.
Well, Callie Jackson is a player that Georgetown looks to come in and provide a spark and a lot of energy, and that's exactly what they need from her. Offensive rebounds. Now she's going to go to the line to shoot the one free throw.
Team best 78% from the line, and Georgetown shoots the free throws well, 22nd best in the country. Indiana Wesleyan, no slouch either. They're 6th best, so 2 of the 22 best teams in the country on the floor tonight. As Damon misses a second 3, Lawrence mops it up.
Maddie Lawrence just has a knack for reading the rebound coming off the rim.
Inside, 2 to play here in the first quarter. Solgermani. Poken away by Frazier. Lanfersite from her seat. And Georgetown's got some numbers here as tripped was Solgermani.
I think Maddie Lawrence is going to pick up the foul.
That's her second foul of the quarter.
Yeah, there you see the trip.
It's funny, on the Indiana Wesleyan team, Lily Frazier, well known for tripping her teammate just for fun, but it was Lawrence who tripped Solgermani. Misses the first free throw. Lisa Solgermani, frequent contributor earlier in the year. Production waned of late, just 2 points per game over the last 6. And Jackson mops it up.
Well, the best free throw shooter on your team misses 2, but the Wildcats don't block out. And the Tigers regain the lead on the easy basket.
Reed blocked, but fouled by Lanfersite.
I think they're going to say she got her with the body.
It's going to be 5 anyway on Georgetown.
2 pretty good athletes going head-to-head right there in Jordan Reed and Jalen Lanfersite.
Yeah, Lanfersite, record holder at Tennessee Martin in the high jump. Great track athlete. Jordan Reed, one of the more athletic players on Indiana Wesleyan. That one rims out.
Kind of a line drive, that free throw.
Little knuckleball shot put action. Toller. And Reed reaches in and forces the tie-up. It will stay with Georgetown, but you see the qualities that Ethan Whaley and a lot of people around Indiana Wesleyan would point out, where they would say Jordan Reed should have been the conference defensive player of the year. She came 1 vote short. Through the fingers of Landforsyth. Jackson's everywhere, Roger.
Well, certainly the Tigers are showing the hustle that they're going to have to display all night if they're going to pull the upset here.
Jackson with the left. A 7-point first quarter for Callie Jackson, who only played 5 minutes last night and had 2 points.
Well, in these kind of ball games, you have to have someone step up big, and she's doing it right now for her team.
Damon can't do it. Landforsyth has the rebound. It's a 2-point Georgetown lead, looking to pull up the upset here in Lucky Arena. 35 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Jackson finally misses one, but Darnell gets the rebound and takes a tumble. And a Wildcat's going to be whistled for the foul. It's going to be Lily Frazier.
Jonathan, that's 5 offensive rebounds now in the first quarter alone for Georgetown. They're being very aggressive at going after those offensive rebounds, and it's been a key in this first quarter.
It shows, I mean, college students, right? No worse for wear from yesterday's game. Georgetown coming out just as aggressive as they did last night. Here's Landforsyth with the left and gets the lucky bounce. 4-point lead for the visiting Tigers.
Four on the clock.
Frazier, the pivot, doesn't get it to go, and it was a perfect first quarter for Georgetown College as they lead Indiana Wesleyan by 4.
And you know what? A great defensive possession there for Georgetown to close out this first quarter.
We'll take a bit of a breather. You see the replays. We'll be back for the second quarter on IWWildcats.com. Second quarter about to begin, and it was a perfect first quarter for Georgetown. All things considered, playing the vaunted Indiana Wesleyan Wildcats, number 5 team in the country, number 1 in the quadrant, and 7 Tigers played in that first quarter. 6 of them scored, very balanced.
Yeah, and the other thing I was a little bit curious to watch is last night against Mid-American Nazarene, Georgetown had a huge advantage in the paint. They were, 42 to 22 points. Thought that might not be the case here tonight against Indiana Wesleyan, but
boy, were you wrong.
Yeah, they have done a really good job, but they've kind of spread the floor out, and they've created a lot of passing lanes, good backdoor cuts, and they've cleared that post area out, and they've been effective inside.
Well over half of Georgetown points coming within the paint so far this game. Here's Nutley looking to get Indiana Wesleyan going in the paint. Takes a tumble and the whistle against a perplexed Sophie Smith, her second foul.
Right, Nutley went down hard. Gets up a little slowly.
Jade Nutley, a good free throw shooter. 75%. Got into shape for her sophomore season by a lot of cardio over the summer. Bike machine, rowing machine. Played one of her friends back home in Madison. And just a ton of one-on-one. Doesn't help with that free throw there, but it's helped her overall. She's been a revelation all conference this year.
Only a sophomore. But that's often the case with the post players. It takes them a little longer to develop, but she certainly has. And that's where, that's where you get better as a player in the offseason. You're not going to see that kind of growth during the season. It's the off season when you perfect your game.
Here's Soljamani wrapping around the Jackson screen, centers it up top.
Toller will shoot it from out there.
She's fouled here, and Merrill can't believe it. Claire Merrill, one of the more intense players for Indiana Wesleyan in practice. One of her teammates said she never committed a foul in practice, and it doesn't look like she felt like she committed one there.
Well, she went to Northwestern High School over in Kokomo, Indiana, and you're talking about one of the premier girls basketball programs in the state of Indiana, and her coach, Coach Lehman, who just announced she's going to retire from active coaching.
Oh, really?
Well, both her daughters are going to be at Purdue next year, so.
That's a good reason.
But there were some pretty big-time, intense practices in high school, and she's brought that to college.
Toller's got 8 points. She was put up good numbers, 16 points last night, but she was 6 of 19, so it took a high volume to get to those 16 points, but that's not the case here tonight, Roger. She is 3 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Good start to the game by Erin Toller, Georgetown star.
And Georgetown has now gone up by 5. It ties their biggest lead of the ball game.
And a push against Callie Jackson. Second team foul against Georgetown. Sadie Nee will inbound it to Nutley. Trying to go baseline, and then a whistle on the floor, and that's against Callie Jackson again, her second.
And just like that, see Jalen Lambersight's going to check back in. Callie Jackson will sit down with you. Boy, what a first quarter Callie had.
Incredible. But there's going to be a lot of minute management going on by Jeff Nickel and his staff with just the foul trouble Georgetown's found themselves in early in this game. Van Dyke too strong. Van Dyke on the rebound, yes.
Well, Bailey Van Dyke, the senior from Grand Rapids, Michigan, sticking with it. And you can tell there's a different level of play from seniors in this tournament.
Nice pass inside, deflected. That was A.J. Stevenson trying to thread the needle.
Take a
Van
look.
Dyke.
Yeah, just sticking with it. Drawing a little contact, but just being strong enough to get it back up on the glass.
Merrill. Van Dyke, who just scored last time down the floor. Here, Claire Merrill off the glass and gets the roll. That's 5 for Claire Merrill.
You know, the Wildcats don't anticipate Claire Merrill scoring a lot, but she can when it's needed. And that time she took advantage of an open lane.
Well, that's on Claire Merrill of Indiana Wesleyan, her second.
We'll see.
Correction, her first. Soljamani will run the point for Georgetown. About 2 minutes in here to the second quarter. From the three, and hit by Stevenson.
Well, right now, we talked about the bench for Georgetown before the beginning of the game. The Georgetown bench has stepped up big time for them in this game so far.
Knee from the corner. A glancing blow, Merrill there to mop it up.
That was about a high arc of a three as you're ever going to see.
Almost scraped the sound speakers above the court. Stevenson with the ball, just hit a three last time by. Toller dials it up and airmails it. And Soljamani, great hustle, doinks it off of Jordan Reed.
Yeah, Jordan Reed was just going to let it go out of bounds. And Soljamani, which is a heads-up hustle play, went and got it and threw it off of Jordan Reed. 12 seconds on the shot clock.
The Vermont native had a really good career at Franklin Pierce earlier in her collegiate career before coming down to Georgetown.
Well, you know, Sadie Nee initially had done a pretty good job there defensively, keeping her hands wide, but then she reached in with the left and drew the foul. See Kelly Damon checking back in. Last night, Kelly Damon had a whale of a ball game for Indiana Wesleyan. She's not found that same shooting touch tonight.
Oh, she hasn't hit from 3 yet, Damon. 0 for 3. Here's a wide open one that is pure money by A.J. Stevenson.
Is that 2 straight threes for her?
That's 2 in a row.
Well, the Wildcats are so intent on paying attention to Erin Toller, and when she drives, she drew the triple team that time, but did a great job of finding the wide open Stevenson.
The role players for Georgetown have been making Indiana Wesleyan pay. Here's Van Dyke contested, no good. Stevenson the rebound, and it will go to Georgetown off of the Reed deflection.
Well, Georgetown leads by 5. Now they have the basketball. This could basket here would be their biggest lead of the ball game.
A very calm approach here offensively by Georgetown. A little wild pass, and that one goes to Indiana Wesleyan. It's off A.J. Stevenson.
Yeah, Kelly Damon with the pressure there causing the turnover. You don't necessarily have to score, obviously, to make a big difference in a ball game. So right now, Kelly not shooting the ball very well, but she can certainly make some things happen on the defensive end.
No Lily Frazier for a while. It's taking to see with her 2 fouls. So Indiana Wesleyan leaning on Van Dyke and crew. Here's Nutley.
Like Nutley has a mismatch if she can take advantage of it.
Sadie Nee double dribbles.
A big defensive possession right there for the Tigers, creating the turnover.
And Indiana Wesleyan look a little just confused and pressing. This is not the same Wildcat team we saw yesterday.
Yeah, almost, I was just thinking that they look just a little frustrated here.
Toller lost that in the corner. Empty possession for Georgetown. Turnovers mounting for the Tigers. They've got 7.
Yeah, if there's one thing you look at in this first half for Georgetown, those 7 turnovers kind of have prevented them from having a bigger than a 5-point lead right now.
Five and a half to go in the second. Van Dyke, backdoor, and Nee was fouled by Soljamani.
A great backdoor cut and find. The cut by Sadie Nee. Bailey Van Dyke with the nice assist. And Sadie Nee is going to be at the line to 87% from the free throw line. I don't know if I wrote that down right, but that's true. That's outstanding.
You do have it. Round up, you get 88. Either way, very good. Makes the first, makes the second.
That's the first points for the Wildcats in several minutes.
Right now, it's Georgetown playing on a scoreless stretch of a minute and a half. Indiana Wesleyan got off theirs. Darnell not able to get it to go. And it will go to Indiana Wesleyan down 3. Merrill from the corner. No, Van Dyke slaps it out. Jade Nutley, Damon 0 for 3 so far. Now 1 for 4.
You know, that was the first possession defensively where I thought Georgetown looked a little flat-footed. And it cost them a 3.
Soljamani handling the point, came to Georgetown as a 2 guard, but she has been mostly Sophie Smith's backup. Toller feeds it in. Lanforsyte with the left and off the glass.
And that Lanforsyte talked to her dad last night and said she doesn't make it look pretty all the time, but boy, is she effective. I think we're gonna have a travel called.
It was. Sadie Nee didn't like it. But the call comes in from Amanda Bender, and here's a replay.
Well, I think the one official underneath was going to call a foul maybe, but the out top official called a travel before that.
Toller shot fakes Merrill out of her shoes, finds Landforsyth, not able to get it to go. Stevenson ripped away by Sadie Nee.
Oh, that's a break.
The two splashes.
Sadie Nee has come off the bench for Indiana Wesleyan, provided a little bit of a spark.
She's heralded by her teammates as being able to do just that. Provide a jump start, provide the juice off the bench, and she has done so. 4 points this second quarter for Sadie Nee as Toller misses a three, rebound Van Dyke.
Wildcats looking for their first lead in the second quarter. In fact, they've only led by 2 points for just a moment.
They don't now as Nutley blows the layup. Nutley 1 for 4 from the field here in the first half. Darnell scoops it in.
Darnell runs the floor extremely well for Georgetown.
It's really a team strength for Georgetown. They've got a lot of long athletic girls,
yes,
and they use that athleticism very well. Van Dyke goes to the line for a bonus.
Well, Bailey Van Dyke showing up big here for Indiana Wesleyan. And if she hits this free throw, she'd give Indiana Wesleyan their first lead since early in the first quarter. See Jordan Reed checking back in for Indiana Wesleyan. Is that Jade Hovey that's...
It is. And Van Dyke does hit the free throw. She has 5 points. Jade Hovey getting some early play time here.
Yeah, she's a freshman who's come on in the latter part of the season. Oh, another nice feed.
And immediately commits a foul, looks like.
Guards for Georgetown have done a really nice job of breaking down that Indiana Wesleyan defense, drawing the old Dick Vitale drive, draw, and dish. It sounds kind of simple, but that's what they've done multiple times in this game, and they've been very effective at it.
The senior from Nicholasville, Kentucky, Landforsyth, 73% from the free throw line this year, makes the first. She has 5 points. And the second's good. Give Landforsyth 6, and the lead is Georgetown's by 1.
Oh.
Hovey!
Whoa! Instant offense off the bench from Jade Hovey.
She has now scored in 6 straight games.
Ooh, big screen out top.
Georgetown a man up, and Toller can't knock it down. Damon guides the Wildcat break, and it's stripped from Landforsyth. Numbers for Georgetown. Darnell scores again.
And Jordan Reed just had to back off, and that time the turnover. This time the Wildcat turnover leads to an easy basket for Georgetown.
First points of the game by Georgetown off a Wildcat turnover. Damon at all parts for her, and she glides through.
Well, the Wildcats taking a little bit of out of the Georgetown playbook there that time. Their guards last several possessions just attacking.
Here's Jordan Rogers, provided some key moments in overtime for Georgetown last night. Darnell off the pivot and gives Georgetown the lead back. We seesaw back and forth.
Darnell, 8 points now. She had a great game last night as well. Just a really gritty, hard-nosed player.
7 ties, 6 lead changes, and a turnover. It's been a back and forth affair here in the second round of the NAIA National Championship. And Toller scores and will go to the line.
And one.
As Jordan Reed fouls her. Toller's got 10.
You know, Landforsyth was inside there, kind of created some space as she went, you know, just kind of cleared Hovey out a little bit, created a lane there for Toller, and Toller's able to finish. Tremendous athlete. And you know what? I know Georgetown feels she's just starting to get back into, that basketball shape and rhythm after being out for so long.
An arcing three is short by Damon. Merrill tracks it down. Toller having a great game so far. The only thing she's missed is her three-pointer. She's 0 for 4 from 3, but she's 4 for 9 from the field and 3 for 3 from the free throw line. Here's Van Dyke backing down Rogers.
Well, Bailey Van Dyke using her strength there a little bit. And Bailey Van Dyke has really shown up here for Indiana Wesleyan here in this first half.
One of the team moms for Indiana Wesleyan getting married in October is Bailey Van Dyke. But right now she scored 7 here in the second quarter, of which there's just 16 seconds left of it. Toller guarded by Merrill. Here's Rogers attacking Damon. Reed almost got the steal. Rogers scoops it through and off the glass.
Right before the buzzer.
Damon lets it go.
No.
It won't count, and it was short anyway. And Georgetown maintains that 4-point lead going to the half, Roger. It's Tigers 47, Wildcats 43.
All right, Georgetown has come out in this first half and played with an absolute mindset of intensity. And on the offensive end, they have moved the ball extremely well. They've had the Wildcats chasing them a few times. And every time Indiana Wesleyan kind of started to mount a little bit of a response, you thought the Wildcats one time finally took the lead, had the basketball. Georgetown comes up with a big stop. They put themselves in a prime position to maybe pull off the upset here.
Look at a strong first half. Aaron Toller, 11 points. Madison Darnell, 8. But you've also had a lot of individual contributors that were not as expected.
Yeah.
Callie Jackson had 7 in the first quarter. Bailey Van Dyke, 7 in the second quarter for Indiana Wesleyan. The Wildcats just haven't been able to have that just offensive onslaught they're so accustomed to and they had yesterday.
And I don't think Indiana Wesleyan had that bad of a first half offensively. I mean, they were 50% from the field. They were 3 of 9 from the three-point range. 10 free throws kind of kept them in it. 10 of 13 from the free throw line. But you look at what Georgetown has done offensively. 63% from the field, 19 of 30. You never know. That's going to be hard to maintain that kind of shooting proficiency in the second half. But if they do, watch out.
Yeah, to your point, Roger, Indiana Wesleyan 60%, 9 for 15 in the second quarter. Georgetown 61.5%, 8 of 13. So whatever Indiana Wesleyan did, Georgetown did the same, if not better.
Yeah, just a little better. If you're going to point to anything, Georgetown had 8 turnovers, but most of those turnovers, I think, came in the first quarter. So, boy, we should have a whale of a second half ahead of us. So,
a couple other games just to keep track of before we go to our halftime break. The winner of this game, when they go to Sioux City, Iowa, will play the winner of Indiana Tech Briarcliff, which is in the fourth quarter, and Indiana Tech leads that matchup 68-65. And we were talking that Briarcliff is very close to Sioux City, and if they win that game, you're going to be facing a home court disadvantage for either of these, most likely.
Yeah, I've been to the Tyson Event Center when Briarcliff has been playing, and it's not their home court, but it is a hometown advantage, literally just miles, just minutes from the Tyson Event Center in Sioux City, and they brought the house that a couple years ago. I'm not kidding. There were probably at least 4,000 people, Briarcliff fans, in attendance that night. And but you'll see teams out there like Northwestern, although I think Northwestern was knocked out of the tournament. Morningside, teams like that, when they play in Sioux City, Iowa, it's a great atmosphere.
And then on the men's side in the matchup between these two schools, Indiana Wesleyan leads at the half 44-39 over Georgetown. Jevin Buchanan has 10 points for Indiana Wesleyan. Jake Omer, Kyron Jones, 10 apiece for the Tigers. That'd
be a huge, huge win if Indiana Wesleyan could pull off the upset against Georgetown on their home court. That's not an easy place to go and win on the road.
Got a dozen minutes left before the second half begins. We'll take a breather until then, and we'll see you for half number 2. Georgetown, the Tigers lead the number 1 Wildcats by 4. Second half, a minute away. Alongside Roger Alcock, I'm Jonathan Mathis. And Roger, something we took for granted in our pregame was that Indiana Wesleyan usually gets a lot of production out of Jade Nutley and Lily Frazier, the Wildcat star sophomores, but they are 2 for 8 today. So the Wildcat bench, which we said Indiana Wesleyan had the advantage with, has had to step up, and they have.
Oh, yeah, the bench for Georgetown has been outstanding, led by Callie Jackson. She's 3 of 4 from the field, 7 points. And then A.J. Stevenson just stepped right up, took 2 threes, knocked them both down, both in big minutes in that. So she has 6 points, 2 points for Jordan Rogers. But, you know, Lily Frazier, she's been saddled with those 2 fouls for Indiana Wesleyan, only 4 points. Jade Nutley, she's only shot the ball 4 times, 3 points for Jade. So, you know, we can talk all we want pregame about what we think might happen, but that's why they play the game, I suppose.
One game has gone final in the second round. That was Thomas More, a old friend of Georgetown's.
Yeah.
I use that term lightly. They won 98-69, and we'll have some other updates as we go. There's just a little bit left between Indiana Tech and Briarcliff. Whose winner will play the winner of this? But first things first, quarter number 3 from Lucky Arena here in Marion, Indiana. Thank you for joining us on this nice Wednesday evening in the second round of the NAIA Women's Basketball Tournament.
And obviously the winner heading out to Sioux City, Iowa. 16 teams will remain after tonight.
Yep, and 20 minutes and a little under 20 minutes to go before one of these teams punches the ticket. Unless we go to overtime, which Georgetown did yesterday in their win against Mid-American Nazarene. Land for sight, the first time no, but stick with it and get fouled.
Land for sight, very quick first step. Drove past the defender, was driving out at her. And she'll go to the line. Did not catch who that foul was on.
Claire Merrill.
Okay, that's now, we know for sure now that Claire has 2.
I've circled it for the second time on my score sheet. Land for sight has 7. Big opening round and second round now for Land for sight, who entered averaging just 7 points per game, and she's gone above that last night by a lot, and just now tonight she has 8.
And that's the largest lead of the ball game for Georgetown. They're up by 6.
It's just 2 possessions though. Indiana Wesleyan with the firepower to knock that down, but they have yet to ignite, and by they I mean Lily Frazier and Jade Nutley. And here's Frazier attacking with the right.
Yeah, that's what she does the best. And a good start to the quarter for Lily Frazier, but the Wildcats are going to have to find ways to get some stops. They've given up way too many offensive rebounds to Georgetown, giving them second chance opportunities.
There's Toller. There's an offensive rebound, Roger, and Lamparty.
Boy, just before you can even get it out of your mouth. And credit Georgetown for really attacking that offensive glass. Their bigs aren't the biggest, but they certainly are quick and fast and aggressive.
7 offensive rebounds by Georgetown so far today, and they're out rebounding Indiana Wesleyan overall by 6. Darnell.
Right. They did that a lot last night, the Mid-American Nazarene, that backdoor cut. Biggest lead of the ball game.
Well, Georgetown entered this half with a 4-point lead, and they've just been growing it. They've now doubled that lead. Frazier looking for Nutley, goes to Van Dyke. Bailey Van Dyke, another contested shot. Toller mops up the rebound.
And you see when the Wildcats put up their last 2 shots, nobody there in any kind of position for an offensive rebound.
Darnell passes up the 3. Sophie Smith does 2. 10 to shoot for Georgetown. Toller is blocked by Claire Merrill.
That was great defense by Claire Merrill against an explosive offensive player.
Yeah, she held her ground. Now Frazier on the attack, right where she wants it in the middle of the lane. And will go to the line, the 3rd foul of the game on Izzy Lamparty.
You know, the Wildcats have opened up this 3rd quarter. They've gotten the ball deep inside, but all 3 shots have been left short. And now Maddie Lawrence checking in for Indiana Wesleyan. She provided a spark in that first half with 7 points off the bench. See if maybe she can do the same thing here in this 3rd quarter for Indiana Wesleyan. They need somebody to step up and make plays. But Jonathan, I think Indiana Wesleyan sometimes you worry about, you know, getting scores on the offensive end. They got to keep getting some stops on the defensive end, because Georgetown has been on fire in this ball game.
Georgetown shooting 60% from the field for the game, Roger. They're 3 of 9 from 3. They're 8 of 10 from the free throw line. Tigers just excelling on every level on the offensive end so far tonight.
Shot clock is down under 10.
An easy rebound for Lawrence. I think you mentioned Lawrence, 7 points in the first half, all in the first quarter, and then it was Bailey Van Dyke had 7 in the second. Almost trading key roles, and a big 3 by Kelly Damon.
Well, that's what Kelly Damon did last night for Indiana Wesleyan. She stepped up confidently and knocked down 3 threes, or 4 threes last night. That's her first one tonight. Boy, that was a tough shot.
Yeah, not enough on that one. 6.5 to go here in the third. Frazier takes it inside. Too much on it.
I think she tried a little too hard to draw contact instead of just going up for the layup.
It looked like she was anticipating it. Here's Jackson. She had a big first quarter and gets her first to go here in the second half. That's 9 for Callie Jackson.
Yeah, those post players for Georgetown have been really, really effective inside.
And the lead stays at 5 after Lawrence and Darnell tangle under the basket.
Yeah, Darnell got
bopped there.
Yeah, she took a little bit of a shot.
He's mentioned the first half, Maddie Lawrence wants to be going to physical therapy, so she'll be fixing those in the near future. Here's Toller with the shot clock running out.
And one.
And Merrill commits the foul.
Well, they've run that action several times in the first half, just setting up some screens here at the top, and Toller takes advantage of it, dribbles around to the other block, and that time she draws the foul and gets the basket.
Aaron Toller, the transfer from Kentucky, multiple ACL injuries, even back into high school.
Well, just as quickly as Indiana Wesleyan got this game down into a one-possession ball game, Georgetown has built it back up to a 7-point lead.
Not quite the biggest, but close. Lawrence, a long skip to Jordan Reed. A nice spin move and a nice touch.
Wow, Jordan Reed, that was a tough shot.
5-point game here, 5 to go in the third. Oh, it slipped on Sophie Smith right out of her fingers. Frazier racing up the floor and doesn't capitalize. Gets her own rebound, though. Hoovy is fouled by Toller. That's the first on Toller.
Both teams now with 2 fouls here in the third quarter. Well, that would have been 2 points going back the other way. See if the Wildcats can take advantage of this second opportunity.
Maddie Lawrence working on Callie Jackson in the paint. Is fouled by Jackson, her third. That'll send Lawrence back to the free throw line. She's 2 for 2 today, shooting 69% on the season. Pure on the first. 8 points so far for Lawrence. Junior from Winchester, all-time leading point scorer in high school in her county, boys or girls.
Well, that second free throw rattled around a little bit, but she got it to go. Big free throws right there for Maddie Lawrence. But you kind of get the sense, Jonathan, with every second that ticks off this clock, Georgetown maintaining lead. their confidence continues to build.
Oh, Georgetown having a hard time
there. That's a 10-second violation. I was looking up at the shot clock, and I saw it had just moved to 20 before the ball had gotten across midcourt. And I maintain if the Wildcats want to make a run, it starts at the defensive end. Getting turnovers, getting stops, coming up with big plays on the defensive end can certainly lead to points on the offensive end.
Indiana Wesleyan got their home crowd in off that defensive stand. Frazier will go to the line after the foul from Toller.
And Lily Frazier is so, just so hard to defend in the post because she's not the biggest player by any stretch of the imagination, but she uses her body so well, and she has good post moves. But misses that first free throw.
She was 4 for 4 from the line before that one. Good free throw shooter on the year. Now she has 9 points, which is tied with Maddie Lawrence for the most on the Wildcats. 2-point game, 2-point lead for the Tigers.
Ooh,
and a travel from Darnell.
Well, the pressure in the half court really didn't hurt Georgetown that much in the first half, but in the second half, or in this third quarter, the Wildcats have forced a couple turnovers, and now Georgetown needs a timeout.
And the Wildcat crowd, which was within reason quiet yesterday, didn't have to get too much into it. They are now, and then we take a peek down to Georgetown, Kentucky. Roger.
They got a whale of a ball game going down there in men's action. Right now, it's Indiana Wesleyan up by 2, 53-51. Of course, the winner of that ball game will punch their ticket to Kansas City, Missouri.
About just under 12 minutes to go in the men's game.
A lot of time left there. But here, you know, this is the moment, though, or these are the kind of moments all game long Indiana Wesleyan has tried to make a little bit of a run. They've gotten within 2 or maybe tied it up. In fact, took the lead a couple times, but every time Georgetown has had a response to it. We'll see if that can continue here in the third quarter, or if the Wildcats can maybe put a run of their own on. They go to Maddie Lawrence, offensive foul.
That's the third on Lawrence. Some Bronx cheers rain in from the referees and scarlet red in the bleachers.
Take a look here, and I think it looked like pretty good defense there from Lambersite.
It's been some physical play down low. There was a lot of physical play yesterday that is not going.
Yeah, that Mid-American Nazarene Georgetown game was a hard-fought game.
Picked off by Sadie Nee. Blocked by Darnell. Blocked it right into our camera guy, too. It's a dangerous world down there below the baskets.
That was a big defensive play by Darnell. Even though she turned it over, she kept her head about it. Didn't make a silly play. Boy, another near disaster.
Risky. Here's Frazier sliding through the defense. It's been her quarter, but that bucket doesn't fall, and it stays a 2-point Georgetown lead.
Well, Lily Frazier at 9 points, but she's missed a couple ones really deep inside.
Yeah, Frazier's 2 for 9 from the field. She's got a lot of her points from the free throw line, over half of them.
Shot clock's down to 5.
And it's in very capable hands of Aaron Toller. But it doesn't go. Sadie Nee claims a rebound.
She's going to push the ball up the floor.
Hoovie. No.
She got a little more open than I thought she anticipated that she would be.
The margin stays at 2 as the ball squirts out of Sophie Smith's hands again.
And the Wildcats have missed some opportunities to tie this one up or potentially take the lead.
Another long possession by Georgetown. Toller attacks underneath, land for sight. Popped out of nowhere.
Toller did that several times last night where she split the defender, drove inside, and then found a wide open teammate for a layup.
Back-to-back 10-point double-figure performances for Jalen Landforsythe. In comes Kelly Damon for Indiana Wesleyan. Wildcats have been close, but they haven't been able to tie or regain that lead in some time. Frazier, that time she gets it to go high off the glass.
Lily Frazier, you gotta keep going to her if you're the Wildcats because she's been so effective all season long.
7 of her 11 points for Lily Frazier have come here in the third quarter. $1:40 left in quarter number 3. What a game here between number 1 Indiana Wesleyan and number 9 Georgetown. And that ball, or that foul is called on Jordan Reed, her second.
Trying to get around Madison Darnell, who was posting up there. And Jordan Reed picks up the foul. So now both teams at 4 fouls here in the third quarter. Did she travel? Or was it a screen?
No, illegal screen. Yeah, that's on Landforsythe. Her second, that's 5 so free throws the rest of the way for Indiana Wesleyan. By the by, for kicks and giggles, only 7 teams upset yesterday of the whole NAIA tournament. Indiana or Georgetown being one of them. But a lot of favorite heavy so far, and that's not the case so far tonight, as Frazier ties the game.
Sometimes you look at that and you're like, how did she even get that shot up? But she does a really nice job of protecting the basketball from the defender.
Nice pass from Darnell.
Oh, really nice ball movement there.
Darnell had to play the point a couple years ago. She's played all 5 positions in her career at Georgetown, and that was a slick sling from Darnell. Frazier's been the woman of the quarter and still can't get it to go.
Got it back.
Nutley from the top. Pow!
Well, Jade Nutley absolutely can hit that shot. She's over 40% from three-point range on the season, and she gives the Wildcats their first lead of this second half. Huge shot from Jade Nutley right there.
Fractions of a second difference between game and shot clock.
Georgetown has had a response, though, all game long.
Landforsythe gets the response here.
Man, she has been so effective in the post.
Reed not in time, and we're going to the 4th in a 1-point game, Roger. Old hat for Georgetown, it's the new varnish for Indiana Wesleyan. And we'll see in a few. Ten minutes from Sioux City. It's a 1-point game. Georgetown on the upset track has the edge. It's been a close one all game long. The score has been tied 11 times. The lead has changed 14 times, including a little seesaw action there at the end of the third quarter, Roger.
Yeah, for the most part, however, Georgetown has played with the lead. They got up by as many as 8 a couple times, but in that third quarter, the Wildcats actually outscored the Tigers 19-16. They trailed by 4 at the half, Indiana Wesleyan did. They've cut into that lead. They took the lead shortly, trailed by 1 going into the fourth quarter. I don't know, 2 days in a row we might see overtime.
It's possible. It's possible.
But credit Georgetown. I tell you, every time Indiana Wesleyan has made a big shot, Georgetown has had a response to it as well.
Indiana Wesleyan made it to Sioux City last year. Their run ended in the round of 16. Georgetown did not. Their last year's trip ended in the first round, so they've gone a little bit farther this year. Improvement in Jeff Nichols' second season. Georgetown was a 3-win team 2 years ago. And a cheapie on Erin Toller.
And she knew it. Not a good foul because the shot clock was running down. It was under 10 seconds, and the Wildcats were going to have to try to create something there quickly.
And Toller becomes the 3rd Tiger with 3 fouls. No one has 4 yet. Emphasis on
Yet.
Lily Frazier woke up in the 3rd quarter. Kept that pivot foot down and gives Indiana Wesleyan the lead.
That up and under is very effective for Lily Frazier.
Frazier 3rd in the Crossroads League in scoring as 15. There's Darnell!
Oh,
but she traveled. It was too easy of a look.
Can't get a really good look there on the replay.
In the NBA, they would have let that go. She could have had a couple more steps.
Well, it's one of the rare times Indiana Wesleyan has the lead with the basketball.
And Frazier grows the lead.
Jonathan, I think that's the biggest lead of the ball game for Indiana Wesleyan. They led earlier by 2. Now they're up by 3, but that was early in the first quarter.
It is. Just that small of a lead. That's the largest. Hard to believe after yesterday.
Yeah.
Toller with 5 to shoot.
Step back.
A little long, and Frazier gets the rebound. She's everywhere the second half.
Not only their leading scorer, but their second leading rebounder. She gets her fair share of rebounds.
She led the Wildcats in rebounding yesterday, Frazier did, with 6. Now here's Lawrence. Foul going up.
Free throws could be huge in this fourth quarter.
Second on Madison Darnell. So I'll send Lawrence back to the free throw line. She's 4 for 4 today. Indiana Wesleyan as a team has attempted 19 free throws. They've made 15 of them. Georgetown's 8 of 11. And Lawrence is in double figures.
We take a look at the replay. I think Coach Jeff Nichol was making his case that Maddie Lawrence was trying to pass there, but she hits both free throws.
Maddie Lawrence now 6 for 6 from the free throw line, 11 points. Oh, and a steal by Jordan Reed.
Good decision.
Damon down low, gets the roll.
The Wildcats force a timeout from Georgetown. The biggest lead for Indiana Wesleyan now. And Jonathan, I don't believe Georgetown, no, they have not scored yet in this fourth quarter.
All Wildcats here in the fourth, an 8-0 run to begin this final frame. And a quick timeout by Jeff Nichol. But Lily Frazier began that spark turnaround. She's got 13 points here in the second half.
You know, and I said earlier, and we talked a little bit about Jordan Reed and her ability to maybe influence the game on the defensive end. Jordan Reed's a great athlete. She can certainly score the basketball times, but she really hasn't, you know, that's not been her game last night or tonight, but that may be one of the biggest plays of the ball game right now. They're coming up with a steal and then making the good decision to give up the basketball that resulted in the layup.
Couple of finals from around the national tournament. Briarcliff beats Indiana Tech 87-79. So that is who the winner of this game will play, is Briarcliff, who's going to be right down the road from the championship side in Sioux City. And then Clark, also from Iowa, beat Freed Hardman, a conference rival of Georgetown, 63-58. So 3 teams have punched their ticket to Sioux City. We might be 7 minutes and 50 seconds from the 4th.
Got a whale of a ball game going on down in Georgetown as well in men's basketball. The Tigers of Georgetown have just taken the lead on a big 3. They're up on top of Indiana Wesleyan, 63-62.
7-point ball game here. More half-court pressure from Indiana Wesleyan. Lisa Soljamani back to running the point for the moment, giving Sophie Smith a breather. Toller
nice
reloads and hits a 3.
Boy, good job by Toller there on the ball fake. Freed herself to one dribble to get the wide open 3.
The margin's down to 4.
A lot of time in this basketball game.
Lawrence goes baseline, finds Jordan Reed off the glass.
Boy, Maddie Lawrence has made a major impact in this basketball game coming off the bench for Indiana Wesleyan. She scored the basketball, she's rebounded well, and that time with the nice assist. She's hit all her free throws as well.
She's done all the little things, which is what Ethan Whaley loves about her.
I thought Darnell was going to take that 3.
Landforsyth does. Leaves a short though. Frazier the rebound. Has Reed leaking out ahead. Landforsyth runs her down and fouls her.
That's a good foul by Landforsyth, because that was going to be an easy layup for Indiana Wesleyan. That'll be the 3rd now on Landforsyth.
Again, as a team, Indiana Wesleyan shooting 81% from the free throw line. Jordan Reed 2 for 4. The referee's discussing if it was intentional or not, and it will just be a common foul.
Yeah.
Which is my preferred result. Yeah, they're playing hard.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a good foul, not letting Jordan Reed go in for the easy layup.
Reed, a bounce back game for her. That's her 9th point.
Yeah. And she's had a big second half here for Indiana Wesleyan.
Got a couple steals. Perfect from the field. The only shot she's missed were 2 free throws. She now has 10.
Biggest lead of the ball game for IWU. And Jonathan, we're what, 3.5 minutes in this 3rd quarter.
And a steal by Reed again. Rinse and repeat, this time laid home. A dozen for Jordan Reed. And a 10-point lead for Indiana Wesleyan. And another steal. Georgetown sloppy with the basketball. Damon finds Reed, the 2. Left well short, and Landforsyth the easy rebound.
Maybe a little quick, but Jordan Reed was on a roll.
He was hoping to rip the roof off Lucky with that shot.
But in this first 4 minutes, 3rd quarter, only 1 field goal for Georgetown.
And a whistle, and it's on Maddie Lawrence.
And for Maddie Lawrence, that'll be her 4th foul.
First on Indiana Wesleyan, 4th on Maddie Lawrence. Jade Nutley comes back in.
Boy, what a job, though, by Maddie Lawrence for Indiana Wesleyan. And the crowd behind her, they're standing for her.
.551 to go here in the 4th.
Defense,
though, triggers.
Defense has been the key here in this 3rd quarter for Indiana Wesleyan.
Much improved. Darnell wide open in the corner. No, and the rebound, Jordan Reed. Reed feels like she's been everywhere this 4th. Between her and Frazier, the Wildcats have definitely stepped up in this final frame.
Coach Whaley's calling out a play here. They're going to spread it out.
Frazier's harangued, and as a foul is called, she'll be going to the line. That's on Sophie Smith, her third.
Well, Lily Frazier is going to be at the line, shooting 2. 79% from the free throw line.
18 for Frazier.
And you saw there, Sophie Smith just bringing down that right arm enough to hook Frazier. But she only hits 1 of 2.
It's 11 right now. Georgetown taking on water, and a steal by Indiana Wesleyan. Frazier grimaces up the floor. Jordan Reed soars.
Jordan Reed runs the floor as well as anybody you'll see in NAIA women's basketball. She really can fly.
Indiana Wesleyan's outscored Georgetown 17-3 here in the fourth quarter. And another one. Jordan Reed is fouled by Lanforsyth.
Not sure who got a piece of that ball. I think it was Kelly Damon. And just look at the little pass there from Lily Frazier to Jordan Reed running the floor and filling the lane. And now the foul on Lanforsyth. That's going to be Jordan Reed at the line shooting 2. I think the discussion was whether or not there was ever a change of possession there.
A replay of it.
Yeah, there was no possession there.
So it looks like, at least on first blush, there should not be any free throws.
Yeah, so there's no change of possession. It's going to be a player control foul, I guess. And so instead of free throws, it'll be IW basketball out of bounds, even though the Wildcats are in the bonus.
So they'll be shooting free throws the rest of the way. 2 players both going for the same basketball. No possession earned. Here's Wildcats on their possession.
Well, now Indiana Wesleyan has the luxury of running some clock here.
It's just been a blitz here in the fourth quarter. And then Wildcats outscoring Georgetown 17-3 in the fourth. Merrill bumped. Frazier gets the roll. 20 for Lily Frazier.
Well, right now, scoreboard says Indiana Wesleyan has the 15-point lead, but that's really a shocking turn of events.
And another turnover for Georgetown. And the Tigers are just coming apart here in the fourth, Roger.
Yeah, Lanforsyth kind of twisted her ankle there a little bit.
They showed so much poise for bonus basketball yesterday and through 3 quarters here. But Indiana Wesleyan has been able to put this in the overdrive.
I know I'm repeating myself. The Wildcats 19-3 here in the fourth quarter, but that has been fueled by defense. And now a full timeout on the floor.
We'll take it with them. Indiana Wesleyan leads 81-66. So looking further in those numbers, we said a couple times now, Indiana Wesleyan vastly outscoring Georgetown in the fourth.
Yeah.
Roger, it hasn't even been 6 minutes.
No, and the Wildcats trail by 1 going into the fourth quarter, but they have gone on a 19-3 run. They're 7 of 8 from the field. All of those, most of those, I'm going to say, though, coming off of turnovers that led to baskets the other way. They have really dialed up the defensive pressure. And then from the free throw line, they're 5 of 6.
There's Frazier. 4 to go, 4 minutes from Sioux City.
And Frazier has had a whale of a second half for Indiana Wesleyan. She's sitting now at 20 points.
And a steal from Izzy Lampardi. She takes it coast to coast.
Now that was just textbook defense there by Lampardi, getting her left hand in the passing lane, getting the steal and the basket. Only their second field goal, though, for Georgetown in this quarter.
Nutley down low, the reverse.
Well, Wildcats have been able to spread the defense out here, and they got Georgetown chasing a little bit.
Toller thought about pulling the trigger on the 3, drives instead, and it's off Indiana Wesleyan.
Well, Toller's had a whale of a ball game, though. 18 points.
She's played great. 7 turnovers this quarter, though, for Georgetown. They've only attempted 5 shots. Most of their possessions have ended by the turnover and a shot clock violation on Georgetown.
Hey, this Georgetown bench has been great all week, but that time they missed it. The bench has to see that for, their teammates on the floor.
Yeah, they typically count down. Here's Frazier weaving through. Damon from the top. Got it!
Wow. Kelly Damon, the senior, stepping it up when it counts the most.
Nice ball movement by Georgetown. They need a lot in a hurry, and Darnell gets them 2.
Yeah, the Wildcats were up by 18 after that 3, but this might be a little too late for Georgetown.
Frazier's in big trouble, almost a 5-second count. And then Ethan Whaley burns the timeout to rescue Indiana Wesleyan there.
Yep, good timeout by Coach Ethan Whaley, because Indiana Wesleyan had about 2.5 seconds to get that ball across midcourt.
There's that big 3 by Damon.
Well, Kelly Damon had the big game last night for Indiana Wesleyan, and she stepped up big time, had the 16 points, 4 of 7 from 3-point range. Now that's their second of the second half, after admittedly a bit of a slow start in that first half.
Yeah, she's really picked it up. It looked like she's going to have a down game, but then she's rounded into form like a lot of the Wildcats have. Another final going to the national round will be a Sweet 16, will be Texas Wesleyan, who beat Vanguard 78-70. So 4 teams are off to Iowa.
We started out with 64. After last night, there were 32, and after tonight, there'll be only 16.
It's crazy. It's just so concise, cruel, definitive. You just slice and dice this tournament down.
Boy, the way this game, though, has gone, to say the Wildcats have this big lead, it's just almost unthinkable the way the first 3 quarters went.
It was as perfect as it could have gone for Georgetown through 3 quarters. And then Indiana Wesleyan kicked it into gear here in the 4th.
Yeah, it's been all Wildcats in the 4th quarter, no question about it. But
Frazier missed another free throw. Uncharacteristic free throw shooting performance by her. Just 6 of 9. Which is a testament to how well she plays. She's got 21, but 6 of 9 being uncharacteristic.
Well, if you're Indiana Wesleyan now, you do not want to do what you saw there, the fouls. I'm not sure
That's a push on Jordan Reed.
Yeah, you don't want the foul, you don't want to stop the clock, and you don't want to put Georgetown at the line.
Some Bronx cheers from the Georgetown fans, liking the foul call. Indiana Wesleyan fans, not as thrilled. Here's Aaron Toller. We had a lot of the answers through 3 quarters. That one isn't going to do it, and we're inside 2 to go. Indiana Wesleyan ready to punch their ticket back to Sioux City in 1:40. Frazier whipping through. That time blocked by the rim, and another foul. It's called. And that's the 4th on Izzy Lamparty.
Either case should be at the line shooting too.
What's interesting, I think, Georgetown allows on average 65 points per game. After 3 quarters, they'd held Indiana Wesleyan below their average.
Yeah.
They're at 62, but Indiana Wesleyan then just this overwhelming 4th quarter.
There you see. Well, that's where Lily Frazier has done her damage all season long, and tonight as well. She does such a good job of protecting the basketball and then drawing contact.
An offensive foul called on Jordan Rogers.
And Maddie Lawrence in there taking the charge. Take a look at the replay here. Yeah, you can see she was planted in concrete there, well outside the circle. But that's Maddie Lawrence too for the Wildcats. She's been, one of those players willing to do whatever it takes to win.
70 seconds to go. A 3. Damon Reed the rebound, but poked away by Toller.
And Reed went up high. No foul.
Toller blocked by the rim. And Indiana Wesleyan gonna be able to almost dribble this out.
Good job by the Wildcats, just keeping it away. Coach Nichols says no foul. I think Coach Ethan Whaley's just going to say, dribble it out. We'll take the shot clock violation here. Or not. That shot clock violation didn't touch the rim.
So
kind of academic at this point.
14 4/10 remain. What a run by Georgetown. Brutal conference, fought their way back to the national tournament.
Well, 2 great conferences here in the Crossroads League in the Mid-South.
And Georgetown had the lead through 3 quarters, but Indiana Wesleyan too much in the 4th, and they are going back to Iowa. Indiana Wesleyan takes the opening round, the 2nd round, and they're off to Sioux City.
Well, a really, really impressive effort by these Georgetown Tigers. I mean, it is not easy to come in the road. But if you're a Wildcat fan, this is why you have the regular season that you have in order to win those kind of home court advantage situations. And Georgetown, I mean, they gave it everything they got, but I don't know if they ran out of gas a little bit in that 4th quarter or not. But the Wildcats certainly in that 4th quarter stepped it up another level on the defensive end, created turnovers, created some layups at the other end, and pulled away with an 18-point victory. But that's not how the first 3 quarters went, that's for sure.
Indiana Wesleyan outscores Georgetown 26-7 in the 4th quarter. Lily Frazier, a big part of that story. She got 9 of her 22 in the 4th, and she got 9 more. She got 18 points 2nd half, 9 in the 3rd, 9 in the 4th.
And for Coach Ethan Whaley, in his 6th season now here at Indiana Wesleyan, last year, these Wildcats finished 30-5, made it to the Sweet 16. There you see him giving away to the crowd, but he's made it to the Sweet 16 his 1st year, his 2nd year. 3rd year, they lost in this round 2 years ago, made it to the Final Four, back to the Sweet 16. So the Wildcats are used to getting to the Sweet 16, and Boy, it wasn't easy, though. It was not easy for sure.
And so on Tuesday, Indiana Wesleyan and Briarcliff from Sioux City. As the Wildcats slap the sticker on, take the pose, and they'll be off to Iowa come early next week.
You know, we see right in front of us, Jalen Lanvert's site, though. There were a lot of players in this 2 days, Jonathan, that we had a great opportunity to get to watch play. She was one of them. They had a great win last night. They played extremely hard, but I'll tell you what, Indiana Wesleyan played in that fourth quarter like we've seen them play multiple times this year, and boy, they came out on fire. But that's kind of basketball you have to play now for 40 minutes once you get to Sioux City. You've got to play, 40 minutes of basketball like that.
So we'll leave you with these pictures alongside Roger Alcock and our entire crew here at IWU. I'm Jonathan Mathis saying so long from Marion, Indiana. Indiana Wesleyan goes to Iowa, beating Georgetown 88-70.